This is Good Guys Gear, and I am Alrighty. This is
Alrighty there, I'm Kickstand.
and we're going to talk about concealed carry today. We've both carried, I've carried longer than he has, three different guns, and he's carried two. We've both carried a smaller gun and a larger gun at different times. And so we're going to talk about, basically, if you read the title before you started watching this, go big or go home, guys. You can never have too much gun. So this is the gun that I started out with. It's a Sig Sauer 230 in 380, and it has a 7-round magazine. And your first carry.
This is what I started with. It's a Bulgarian Makarov. A lot of you are probably pretty familiar with that. It shoots 9x18, 7-round mag. It's basically the same as 380. 380 is 9x17 and that's 9x18, so they're almost the same round.
And anyhow, so before I carried this, I had a Glock 22 that I was never, you guys know if you've watched some of my other videos, you know that I feel kind of the same way about this that I do the AK if you watch the AK video. Good gun, not the greatest gun. There's actually honestly more that I like about AKs than there is that I like about Glocks. And so, when I bought this, and it was, you know, all the magic that a metal-on-metal gun was, I started carrying it because I thought it was neat. And it's a sweet little gun, you know. It's got a really nice grip angle, decocker, hammer's easy to get on, really nice sights, great trigger, it's accurate. Once I got it broken in, it was an old gun, but it had never been worn in. It was reliable, but it's also tiny, and it only holds 7 rounds. And it's just not enough. And you started out with that.
Yeah, I started out with this, and I like it. It's a great gun. It actually, you know, it's an Eastern European gun, but it has really pretty good fit and finish. Great trigger. It's accurate. If all you're doing is standing and shooting at a still target, it's actually really accurate. I'd say the worst thing about this gun is that it has a really poor grip angle and small sights, and it's just not a lot of gun, especially for how heavy it is. It's just not a lot of gun.
So, this gun, which he has one just like it, this gun has made at least a cameo in almost every video that I've filmed, in a couple of them just to have it in the video because I like it that much. Moved on to this. Loaded, you're looking at just over 40 ounces of steel-on-steel, you know, combat size 40 Smith & Wesson pistol. And nobody packs a gun this big on a day-to-day basis. I mean, there are a few people out there who do, but as a rule, nobody packs a gun this big, but you should. There are some states, like Florida, for instance, I know they have a no-print law, so if you live there, I suggest you get a passport and move to the United States of America, where you can carry anything you want, however you want, and in any place you want. But anyway, so I understand if you live somewhere where your gun can absolutely not show, not as a bulge or anything at all, that it's going to be pretty difficult to hide something like this. That said, I carry this appendix, tight holster, and a fairly loose-fitting button-up shirt over it, and I would say for better than 95% of people, maybe more than that, nobody knows it's there. What do you think? You've seen me carry it a lot, and you look.
I would say the same. I also have a friend that carries an FNS in the appendix, about the same build as him, and you have to look for it. He just wears it under a t-shirt, and you can see it, but it doesn't just pop out at you.
So if you're in a state like us where a slight bulge every now and again is not a problem, then the size of the gun should not be an issue. And I just want to point out, as far as that goes, although for 25 years of carrying, this will be more comfortable and you'll feel like it's a good decision, on that 25th year and one day when you actually need to use the thing to protect yourself or the ones you love, there is no circumstance in which you're going to say, I really wish I had my 7-shot 380 if you have this. But you could be sitting there with a 7-shot 380 saying, wow, I could do with 10 or 15 rounds 40 right now. So, you know, we don't carry the gun for every day, we carry it for one day. And so your decision on what you carry should be based on one day, not 25 years leading up to that one day. That's at least my view on it. You know, it's carrying is a big responsibility, and you know, you have to know what you're carrying for. If you're doing it to be cool and you just want to be able to say you have a gun on you, then get something like this. But honestly, that's really irresponsible. If you're doing it because there are people you really care about, then get a big gun. Weight, I would say, would be the next thing.
Yeah, it's about as heavy. This in particular is about as heavy a gun as you can possibly choose to carry, unless you want to pack a deagle.
Yeah, and that's honestly the only excuse I can see there would be if you have something like a, you know, sciatica or something like that. It's just not going to allow you to carry a heavier gun. Now for me, carrying appendix, the weight's centered up, so you're not thrown side to side. You can also carry right in the middle of your back. And so that would be, you know, there are two options. And if you don't have something, you know, something that limits you as far as what you can have on your belt, I weigh 135 pounds. And this is my tool belt. Every day, all day long. I build bridges and do other concrete for a living. I'm a carpenter. You do the same thing. You
Yeah.
weigh
125. I pack the same tool belt, basically.
Yeah, you've got everyday hammer. If you're working with metal forms, you might throw this thing in there too. So we might carry those all day long through the heat of the summer. Sometimes put them on over a fall harness or put them on over winter clothes. So we can get used to packing that amount of weight for, you know, 8+ hours a day. Just over 40 ounces of pistol's not that much. Not when you consider what it's for. And then there are holsters. I mean, there are a million different ways that you can carry these things. This is my current favorite. It's a VersaCarry. Honestly, most of the time, when it comes to gun stuff, I consider Universal the more or less means sucks at everything. But this thing is actually, I like it. He doesn't.
This is his holster, but I carry in one of these. I like the strong side carry. It's more comfortable to me. I can't get comfortable with an appendix with this big of a gun. And I use one of these as like a truck holster. Just throw it on if I have to. But for the most part, I just strong side.
Then you can get into like these really little minimalistic guys that, you know, you can put inside or outside the belt, and it just kind of gives you a pocket to tuck the gun into. We've got the homemade inside the waistband holster, and you've got an outside the waistband.
Yeah, basic slip holster for the Makarov.
Which I've got one of those for my SIG also.
Which actually, I pack my Makarov in this basic inside the waistband holster. In the appendix, it just disappears there for me. Two different guns, two different ways that they're comfortable. You really just kind of have to find the holster for you when it comes down to it.
We've got another pancake type holster here for the Glock. I just want to say, if you want to experiment with different kinds of holsters, Tagua is a great place to experiment. They're actually really good holsters. It's just they're more affordable than everything else. So if you want to find out about a pancake holster, you can probably get a Tagua to fit and find out if you like the idea before you spend $75 on handcrafted Italian leather. Then you got your Blackhawk retention type holsters. You can put one of these big paddle things on there and really spread the weight out. So tons of different ways you can make the gun comfortable. This doesn't even scratch the surface. I mean, if I bought holsters, I could buy holsters like women buy shoes, honestly, guys, even if I was only ever going to wear them once and throw them in a closet, which would be exactly like buying holsters the way women buy shoes. I'd do it. And the other thing that I would just want to touch on as far as carry, basically, to me, if you carry all the time. This thing, I don't take this off at work. I just slip the gun out of it, throw my tool belt on, nobody knows it's there, put the gun back in it when I get off work. Because carrying a gun, if you pay attention, is not a license to go places you would not go without a gun. I run into a lot of people who will say, well, I don't carry a gun all the time. I only carry a gun when I fill in the blank. You shouldn't go there just because you have a gun. If you wouldn't have gone there before you had your carry permit, you shouldn't go there now. And besides, honestly, I would say that probably if you look at statistics, most times that anybody ever uses a gun is not on the wrong side of town in a dark alley. It's at a gas station or in their driveway or their home. So those places where people say, oh, I only carry when I go here, that's not where anybody uses their gun. They, if you forget it at a gas station, that's probably the most likely place that you wish you had it. So just bear that in mind. If you're going to carry all the time, because you never know when that moment's going to come up, when it's going to be important. So carry a big gun, biggest gun you can. If you're in a no-print state, carry the very biggest gun you can, and still be able to cover it up. If you live in a state where it's okay to have something stick out every now and again, guys, this 40-plus ounce gun will go away after a couple of weeks. If you search around and you buy yourself several different holsters, the first time I tried to carry Appendix, guy recommended it to me. He said, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. You've got to try it. There are a lot of reasons to carry that way as far as being able to defend your weapon if you don't get time to get it out. And the first time I put a gun on like that, I thought, dude, you're on drugs. This is the most uncomfortable thing I've ever done. Now, I wouldn't carry it any other way. I have this. I'll wear it in this around the woods sometimes because it's a little bit more comfortable. But when I'm out and about, it's this thing all day. So search around, buy some holsters. Like I said, Tagua is a great place to experiment. They're quality holsters. You can run them for several years. I carried my Glock in this for 3 or 4 years. Crawled around under cars, got it sweaty, got it dirty, got it rained on. Still a good holster. So, experiment with some cheap holsters and see what you like, see what you enjoy, see what you can draw quickly from. Get yourself a good belt, because when you get to carrying a big gun, a good belt is really important. There are plenty of thick leather belts out there that'll do the job. You actually got a Tagua belt.
Yeah, I wear a Tagua belt, and it's awesome. Wear it for everything: work, carrying, dressing up, pimping. Wear it for everything.
So yeah, guys, get a big gun and carry it all the time.
There's something I'd like to say also about concealing a gun, because I'm a little guy that packs a big gun, and a lot of people want to look around for the right gun to conceal, or the right holster to conceal a gun in, or the magic shirt to wear that conceals their gun. Concealing a gun has a lot to do with you, not the products that you put on. For instance, I wear this everywhere in a holster like this on my strong side, and I wear a shirt about like this. If I want to dress up, I might wear something that fits a little bit tighter, and I wear a mag on the far side of my body so that when somebody looks at me straight on, when it gets down to my gun, my shirt flares out at both sides and it doesn't print as bad. Also,
I'll say actually, I check everybody to see how well they're carrying, and he covers up well.
Yeah. Also, there are things like, a lot of my shirts barely cover up my holster. They just, stick a half an inch below my holster. So, if I need to, like, one of the places I go, I have to release automatic doors or release door locks, where you have to reach up and release a hinge lock. I don't reach up with this hand. I reach up with this hand so that I don't pull my gun up over my side. If I need to bend down and pick up a piece of garbage off the ground, I kneel so that my shirt stays draped. I don't bend forward and stretch it over my pistol. There's learning how to conceal is a big part of it. It's not just buying the right things. Every time I stand up when I have my gun on, I automatically grab the bottom of my shirt and make sure that it's tucked down below my holster every single time I get up from a seat. While I'm walking around, I'll just randomly grab my shirt and make sure it's pulled down because, it gets worked up your side and you don't even realize it and the muzzle of your gun is sticking out. So, learning how to conceal, I think, is a lot more important than what you buy to conceal with.
Yeah, and he's absolutely right there, and that reminds me of another thing. That awareness that he's talking about your surroundings, about what you're doing, and always being mindful of the fact that you're carrying a gun and trying not to let the whole world know about it. A lot of the different concealed carry products that you'll see out there these days, their advertising will go something along the lines of forgetting that your gun is there. So comfortable you forget you're packing. Well, you should never ever forget you're packing. It doesn't matter if you're carrying an American Arms revolver this long in your pocket. You should never forget that you're packing. So that awareness, standing up every time, every movement you make, considering the fact that your gun is on you, and where people are in relation to you, is another very important part of having a gun on, because if you're not mindful about the way you're carrying your gun and the fact that you have your gun on you in public, you're more dangerous to everybody else. Because if you slip up for a second and you don't consider who's standing behind you and you show them your gun and they go to grab it, which happens very rarely, but it does happen, you created that situation because you were not paying attention to the fact that you're carrying a deadly weapon around other people. Gun is for you and you alone. It's honestly why I don't agree with open carry. As much as I like big guns, I know I'm all about guns, you should be the only one that knows that you have a gun on. Unless, if he and I are out in the same place, obviously our joke is, well, I'm walking, so I'm packing. So I know he's carrying. But yeah, that awareness, that's a really good point. Always be 100% aware of the fact that your gun is on you, that it's covered, that you know who's around you, you know what you're doing, and you're being careful about that because it's a huge responsibility. Is there anything else after that?
I don't reckon so. I think we've covered most of our bases.
All right.
All of our bases.
Well, I just dropped my own name there. So, yeah, Good Guys Gear, that's concealed carry. Go big or stay home. That's the deal. Always have it with you. Always have it covered up. Thanks, guys. Comment, subscribe, like it, share it, love it. Do whatever you want to do with it.